Merci, Monsieur le Recteur, pour ces mots de bienvenue chaleureux. President Fremont was, of course, right that the timing of this panel couldn't be better, as multiple governments are recognizing the importance of science advice to government decision-making and are putting in place the institutional structures and processes to make it happen. That got us asking at the ISSP, are we entering a new renaissance of science advice in Canada? As the President mentioned, not since the 1980s has there been this level of government interest in science advice. If we are entering a new renaissance, how do we keep it going? How do we avoid building, how do we avoid building snowmen or snowwomen, as ISSP Senior Fellow Paul DeFord is often wont to say? That is, how do we avoid building institutional structures that don't have staying power and that melt like snow people with the winds of change? What should people in the broader science policy, research, and academic communities, many of whom are here today, what should they do to support science advisors and science advice more generally? How does Canada keep up the momentum that it currently seems to have on this front? Are there shoals ahead that the country will need to navigate? For those in the ISSP network, many of you in this room, and those tuning in remotely, it is a very exciting time. For people who aren't in science, society, and policy circles, I compare having science advisors on the stage to having rock stars on campus. When we put on an event with a science advisor from anywhere, the registrations get taken up like that. You definitely draw crowds. And I've no doubt you will be mobbed after the panel in a very polite Canadian way, I'm sure, but you will be mobbed after the panel and into the reception. The timing of this panel is also auspicious in that the stakes for science and for science advice couldn't be higher. We are increasingly living in contexts of post-truth politics, declining public trust in experts, in expertise, in evidence, even in the scientific enterprise itself. We are also living in a context of accelerating, fast-paced, emerging and disruptive technologies and growing citizen demands for involvement in decisions that affect them, including decisions about science. And yet we need science, all forms of science, from the natural sciences to engineering, to the social sciences, arts, and humanities, to grapple with the complex, interconnected, and fundamental challenges and opportunities before us. Le changement climatique, les pandémiques mondiaux, la génomique, le terrorisme, l'innovation, pour en nommer quelques-uns. À l'ISSP, on entreprend de la recherche, de l'enseignement, de la formation et de la liaison sur tous ces enjeux. I'd like to briefly mention 3 of our projects. Our project, At Risk, explores how to strengthen risk management frameworks in situations where expert perceptions of risk differ from those of the general public. Think nuclear energy, vaccinations, genetically modified foods. Our research project, Positive Energy, is feeding directly into current efforts in Canada and international to strengthen public confidence in energy decision-making. Think pipelines, think windmills, and the tremendous opportunities and challenges before the country when it comes to energy transition. Finally, some of you will know that the ISSP put forward a letter of intent to create a network of centers of excellence on the topic of inclusive innovation for emerging and disruptive technologies. The network, called Innovation 21, will be a research, teaching, and outreach platform for scholars, governments, industry, innovators, and civil society to collectively strengthen Canada's capacity for inclusive innovation. Innovation that delivers benefits for all and that secures strong social support, sine qua nons in the 21st century. All of our projects, and I should note, we've received wonderful funding from Tri-Council agencies, from SHRC, from Genome Canada, and some of whom are here in the room this afternoon from the University and others as well, so we're very grateful for that support, without which the projects would not be possible. All our projects are underpinned by a firm belief and commitment to science for policy, evidence-based and evidence-informed decision-making. That is why we are so eager to hear from the 3 science advisors today. They will share with us their views on the opportunities and challenges for science advice now and into the future, and will help us to answer the question, are we entering a new renaissance for science advice in Canada? But before that, it gives me tremendous pleasure to welcome Dr. Mark Sonner to the stage. Mark will give a brief presentation of the document Manifesto for 2030, Scientific Advice for the Global Goals. Mark was on the drafting team of the manifesto, which was produced under the auspices of the International Network for Government Science Advice. This presentation will help set the stage for what we know will be a lively discussion of science advice in Canada. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sonner to the stage.